Love doesn't always come with a grand confession or a dramatic realization. Sometimes feelings grow slowly, almost unnoticed, until one day they can no longer be ignored. The tricky part, he might not even realize he's falling for you. While he may not have said the words out loud, his actions are already revealing the truth. When a man starts developing deep feelings for someone, his behavior shifts in subtle yet undeniable ways. He might think he's just being a good friend, acting naturally, or treating you the way he treats everyone. But the reality is different. His body language, his habits, and even the smallest things he does around you are all silent clues to what's really happening in his heart. Maybe he always finds a reason to text or call you, even when there's no real need. Perhaps he remembers tiny details about you that most people would forget. Or it could be the way he defends you in conversations, without even thinking about it. These aren't just random habits, they are subconscious signs that you've become someone incredibly special to him. One of the biggest giveaways is how he reacts emotionally when you're around. Does he smile more? Get nervous? Mirror your body language without realizing it? Or maybe he suddenly seems a little jealous when you talk about other guys, even though he brushes it off like it's nothing. These are not things he's doing on purpose. They are instinctive reactions that show just how much you mean to him. Falling in love isn't always a dramatic event. Sometimes it's a quiet realization that sneaks up on him. He might not recognize it yet, but if you start noticing these signs, chances are his heart is already ahead of his mind. So, if you're wondering whether he's falling for you, pay attention to the little things. Actions speak louder than words, and his are already telling you everything you need to know. Here are 12 signs that he's secretly falling for you, even if he hasn't figured it out yet. 1. He gets nervous around you, but doesn't know why. When he's around you, there's a certain shift in his behavior that even he can't fully understand. His hands might fidget, his voice may waver slightly, or he could stumble over his words in a way that's unusual for him. It's not that he lacks confidence, it's just that something about you makes him feel different. His heart beats a little faster, and he becomes more conscious of his actions, even though he can't pinpoint why. Without realizing it, he may adjust his hair, fix his shirt, or play with whatever is in his hands just to keep himself occupied. He might laugh at things that aren't that funny or smile a bit too much, simply because being around you makes him feel things he hasn't quite processed yet. It's an internal mix of excitement and nervous energy that he doesn't fully acknowledge. Sometimes he might avoid direct eye contact, not because he isn't interested, but because looking at you makes him feel exposed, as if you can see right through him. Other times he may overcompensate by talking too much or trying to impress you without even realizing he's doing it. Even when he's usually calm and composed around others, with you, there's an underlying tension, one that he doesn't quite understand. He doesn't connect the dots yet, but his body and mind are already reacting to the feelings growing inside him. Before he even admits it to himself, his nervousness is a sign that his heart is already falling for you. 2. He remembers small details about you without trying. Without even realizing it, he holds on to the little things you say. You might casually mention your favorite coffee order, a childhood memory, or a random fact about your day, and weeks later, he brings it up as if it was the most natural thing in the world. It's not something he consciously tries to do. Your words just stay with him. He notices things that others overlook. If you mention a song you love, he might add it to his playlist. If you say you're nervous about an upcoming presentation, he'll remember to ask you about it later. even the way you like your food, or the stories you share about your family stick with him effortlessly. He may not realize it, but his mind naturally prioritizes anything related to you. When you're talking, he's fully present, absorbing every detail without trying. He might surprise you by recalling something small, like your favorite flower or the name of your pet from years ago. It's never forced. He doesn't have to make an effort because to him, everything about you matters. Even when he hasn't fully admitted his feelings, this unconscious attention to detail speaks volumes. His heart is already invested, even if his mind hasn't caught up yet. 3. He finds excuses to text or call you often. He may not realize it, but he's always looking for a reason to reach out to you. Sometimes it's a simple question that he could have easily Googled, but instead, he chooses to ask you. Other times, he shares a random meme, a song, or an article that somehow reminded him of you. These little messages aren't just casual. They're his way of staying connected without making it obvious. Even if the conversation starts with something small, he finds ways to keep it going. He responds quickly, asks follow-up questions, and makes sure the chat doesn't die out too soon. If he ever texts first, especially without a specific reason, it's a sign that you're on his mind more than he realizes. Calls work the same way. He might pretend it's about something unimportant, like asking for advice or checking up on something random, but deep down, he just wants to hear your voice. He enjoys the interaction, even if it's brief, because it makes him feel close to you. What makes this different from regular friendships is the consistency. He doesn't just message when he needs something. He messages because he wants to talk to you. He might not have admitted it to himself yet, but the fact that he keeps finding reasons to reach out shows that he's already falling for you. 4. He mirrors your body language unconsciously. Without even realizing it, he starts to reflect your movements, gestures, and expressions. If you lean in while talking, he does the same. If you cross your arms, he might do it too. It's not something he's doing on purpose. It's just a natural reaction when someone feels connected to another person. This subconscious mirroring happens because he's emotionally in sync with you. His brain picks up on your body language and matches it without thinking. It's a silent way of showing that he's paying attention and is comfortable around you. Even small things, like sipping his drink right after you take a sip or laughing in a similar way, are signs that he's unknowingly drawn to you. When someone mirrors another person, it's a strong indication of attraction and emotional connection. He may not realize why he does it, but his body is already showing signs of how deeply he's affected by you. Before he even understands his own feelings, this unconscious behavior is proof that he's already falling for you. 5. He gets jealous but doesn't realize it. He might not openly admit it, but his reactions say it all. When you mention another guy, whether it's a co-worker, a friend, or even a celebrity, his mood shifts ever so slightly. Maybe his smile fades for a second, or he suddenly changes the subject. He may act uninterested, but deep down, something stirs inside him, even if he doesn't fully understand why. Sometimes, he tries to downplay it by making jokes or teasing you about the person you mentioned. Other times, he asks subtle questions like, "So, do you guys talk a lot?" Or, "Oh, he must be a nice guy, huh?" As if fishing for reassurance. He's not being possessive, he just doesn't like the idea of someone else having your attention the way he secretly wants it. He might not even recognize his own jealousy. To him, it's just an odd feeling, a slight discomfort that he can't quite explain. But the truth is, he cares more than he realizes. Even before he admits his feelings to himself, his jealousy is already proving that he's falling for you. 6. He prioritizes your happiness over his own. Without even thinking about it, he puts your happiness above his own. If he notices you're feeling down, he does whatever he can to cheer you up, even if it means sacrificing his own comfort. Maybe he lets you choose the movie, even when he doesn't like romantic comedies. Or perhaps he changes his plans just to be there when you need him. He doesn't see it as a big deal. He just naturally wants to see you happy. Even in small ways, he puts you first. If you're cold, he offers you his jacket without hesitation. If you're struggling with something, he listens, supports, and helps however he can, even if he's dealing with his own problems. Your happiness matters to him, sometimes more than his own, and he doesn't even question why. What makes this different from regular kindness is consistency. He doesn't do it once or twice. He does it over and over without expecting anything in return. He may not have said the words yet, but his actions already show it. He's falling for you, even if he doesn't realize it himself. 7. He always finds a way to be near you. No matter where you are, he always seems to end up close to you. Whether it's in a group setting, at work, or even in a casual hangout, he naturally gravitates towards you without even realizing it. He doesn't make it obvious. He just finds small ways to close the distance, like choosing the seat next to you, standing near you in a conversation, or casually walking beside you when everyone else is scattered. Even if he doesn't need to be near you, he somehow ends up there. If you move to another spot, he might unconsciously shift in your direction. If you're sitting somewhere, he might lean in just a little closer when talking. It's not something he's doing on purpose. It's his heart pulling him toward you before his mind even understands why. He doesn't think much about it, but his body language speaks louder than words. Being near you makes him feel comfortable, connected, and just right. And even if he hasn't admitted it to himself yet, the way he instinctively stays close is a clear sign that he's already falling for you. 8. He defends you, even in small situations. Without even realizing it, he always has your back. Whether it's a small misunderstanding or a casual joke at your expense, he steps in before he even thinks about it. If someone teases you, he's quick to defend you, sometimes playfully, sometimes seriously, but always in a way that shows he cares. Even if it's something minor, like someone doubting your opinion or making a comment about you, he naturally jumps in to support you. It's not just about big arguments or dramatic situations. Even in everyday conversations, he subtly stands up for you. If someone questions your taste in music, he might say, "Actually, they have great taste." If a friend forgets to include you in something, he makes sure to bring you back into the conversation. It's effortless for him, because deep down, he wants to protect you, even in the smallest ways. He might not recognize why he does it, but his instinct to defend you shows just how much he values you. Before he even admits his feelings, his actions are already proving that he's falling for you. 9. He notices when you change something about yourself. Even the smallest changes don't go unnoticed by him. Whether you switch up your hairstyle, wear a new outfit, or try a different shade of lipstick, he picks up on it almost instantly. He might not always say it out loud, but there's a flicker of recognition in his eyes, like he's seeing you for the first time all over again. Sometimes he does mention it, surprising even himself. "Did you do something different with your hair?" Or, "That color looks really nice on you." It's not something he tries to pay attention to. It just happens naturally. Even when others don't notice, he does, because he's already tuned into you in a way he hasn't quite realized yet. It's not just about physical changes either. If your mood shifts or you seem a little off, he picks up on that too. You okay? You seem different today. He may not fully understand why he cares so much, but the fact that he notices the little things is a sign that his feelings for you are deeper than he thinks. 10. He values your opinions more than others. When he's falling for you, your opinions start to matter more than anyone else's, even if he doesn't realize it yet. Whether it's a big decision or something as small as choosing a movie, he genuinely wants to know what you think. If you recommend a book, a song, or a restaurant, he's more likely to check it out, not just to be polite, but because your opinion holds weight for him. In conversations, he listens to you more attentively than others. If there's a debate among friends, he'll instinctively side with you or at least take your perspective into serious consideration. Even if he usually makes decisions on his own, he starts seeking your input, asking, "What do you think?" or "Do you agree?" as if your approval matters more than he consciously realizes. What sets this apart from casual respect is consistency. It's not just once or twice, it's all the time. Your words influence his thoughts, and your perspective shapes the way he sees things. Even before he understands his own feelings, the fact that he prioritizes your opinion shows that he's already falling for you. 11. He smiles a lot when talking to you. Whenever he talks to you, his face lights up in a way that's different from when he's with others. Even if the conversation is simple or ordinary, there's an effortless smile that lingers on his lips. It's not forced or intentional. It just happens because being around you makes him happy in a way he hasn't fully realized yet. Sometimes he smiles even when you're not looking, like when you're passionately talking about something you love or laughing at your own joke. He may not even notice he's doing it, but his expressions give him away. Even when he's had a bad day, the moment he sees you or hears your voice, his mood seems to shift. What makes it even more telling is that his smiles with you last longer and seem more genuine. It's not just polite laughter or a reaction to something funny. It's the kind of smile that comes from being completely at ease and enjoying every second with someone. Whether he knows it or not, his happiness around you is a clear sign that he's falling for you. 12. He feels comfortable being vulnerable with you. Without even realizing it, he starts opening up to you in ways he doesn't with others. At first, it might be small things, sharing a personal opinion, talking about his day, or mentioning something that made him feel frustrated. But over time, he finds himself revealing deeper parts of himself, like childhood memories, insecurities, or dreams he's never told anyone before. He doesn't feel the need to put on a tough front around you. If something is bothering him, he doesn't just brush it off. He actually talks to you about it. Even if he's usually the type to keep his emotions bottled up, with you, it feels natural to let his guard down. He may not even understand why, but something about your presence makes him feel safe, as if he doesn't have to pretend to be strong all the time. What makes this even more special is that he trusts you with this side of him. He doesn't just share things to fill the silence. He does it because he values the connection you have. Being vulnerable isn't easy, especially for someone who hasn't fully admitted their feelings yet. But the fact that he feels comfortable enough to be his true self around you, that's a sign he's already falling, even if he doesn't realize it yet.